please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Niehaus.
Here.
Mr. Magistrelli.
Here.
Mr. Scher.
Here.
Ms. Domzalski is absent. Mr. Hips.
Here.
She's here.
Oh, I didn't see you sneak in. Sorry. Mr. Hips.
Here.
Ms. Noack. Here. Mr. Boytush is absent. Mr. Bryan.
Here.
Mr. Wasowski.
Here.
Chief Zolgis is absent. Chief Buss.
Here.
Mr. Walters.
Here.
I'm present.
Can we get the approval of the minutes, please?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Noack to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting of September 26th, 2018. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Mr. Magistrelli. Any amendments, questions, or comments? Hearing none. All in favor of approval?
Yes.
Yes.
All opposed? Minutes are approved, Mayor.
At this time, is there anyone in the audience that has anything for us tonight? Hearing none, moving on. Reports of municipal officers. The mayor would like to report that all the holiday decorations are up for October and November. Everything looks great. They're also moving along very well with the garage for Halloween. So I think we're going to be ready for the 31st. And Halloween will be on the 31st from 6 to 8. Moving on to the finance director, Mrs. Angracia.
Everyone has in front of them the reconciliation and month-end cash reports for September. I'd like to request a motion for acknowledgement of receipt of these reports.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Magistrelli, seconded by Mr. Hips. Any questions? All in favor of the motion?
Yes.
All opposed? Okay, the motion is adopted.
Okay, then the two pieces of legislation are relative to my department. 2018-65, the resolution accepting the amounts and rates determined by the Budget Commission and certifying them is just an annual housekeeping measure that we have to have for the Summit County Fiscal Officer. And then the second one is a transfer ordinance for, I'm sorry, not transfer, appropriation amendment for the traffic sign signals and markings, increasing the line to 4,500. Any questions? Okay, that concludes my report.
Okay. Moving on to the engineer, Mr. Wasowski.
Ledge Road reconstruction. The road was open Friday morning, September 21st. That's 5 weeks ahead of schedule. The budget looks like, or the final cost will come in slightly lower than the 2016 estimated Ohio Public Works costs that we applied for the grant or the loan for. And it's actually about $200,000 under my 2018 construction cost estimate. I will need a motion from council to allocate $10,925 for payment to my firm for the concrete testing. The testing company, instead of building the village, is build me, so I pay it. Approximately half of that cost will be paid by Macedonia. I like to figure out exactly how many tests were done in Northfield and how many tests were done in Macedonia. I think it's going to be about 50-50 though. Contractor is currently completing the punch list items, and next May we'll check on the final status of the grass. They have to have basically 85% of the area the seeding has to take. That's all, not 100%. So as long as they have that, they get paid. The Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, Cuyahoga Valley Interceptor Sanitary Sewer Evaluation Study. That study has begun by the district. Their consultants are doing it throughout the whole Cuyahoga Valley area. During the next few months, we should be experiencing people coming out from that organization to do some smoke testing, dye testing. They will flow monitor down at the end of Phil, right at the park, that manhole there. They'll put a flow monitor in there.
In the park or up at the end of Phil?
I think
We have one in the woods, we have one at the end of the road, and then
I think it's at the end of the road they're doing it on that one. The 5-year construction engineering cost projections, I'm just started working on that to show what I believe is going to be the cost and the priorities for the roads for the next 5-year period. So we can put something in the budget for that. And you can discuss it if that's the priorities you want, or how you want to do this. And the mayor asked me to do that. The Houghton Road reconstruction, State Route 8 traffic signals, we're still working on the plans. We may require a few easements on those signal poles. So far I haven't been able to locate a couple of them in State Route 8 right away. We're going to have to take a little chunks out of some properties to get these easements for some of the poles. And as soon as I have the final design done and the easements written, we'll take care of going to get those. We're going to try to bid it mid-December, so we'll open up the bids for the January, first January meeting of council, and hopefully award the contract then, because I told you before, the 6 to 8 months wait to get these poles. So we could be working on the poles, though, or working on the roadway during the summertime, and do the poles in August or September, get that done. State Route 8 and Ledge Road traffic signals, all the shop drawings for all the equipment, all the poles were approved. A little over a week ago, the contractor should have ordered those poles and the materials by now. But I don't expect those to come in until April. So that's when we'll probably start construction, is April on that. But he told me it was only going to take him 45 days once he had the equipment. He thought he can get done in 45 days. So we'll still have it by hopefully next summer, that whole thing, that will be up. And that's it.
Thank you, Rich. Moving on to the law director, Mr. Bryan.
I have no report this evening, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to department heads. Police Chief John Zolgis will be at our next regular scheduled council meeting. Fire Chief Jason Boss.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Just 2 quick items. One, University Hospital was supposed to be here tonight to donate us some AEDs. They can't make it tonight, so they'll probably do that in the November 21st meeting. And the second is we did do a training over at Lee Eaton today with the police department for active shooter response to violent incidents, and went very well. Fire department, police department worked well together, and it was a good training for all of us involved, and we learned quite a bit. But other than that, I have nothing else.
Thank you, Chief. Moving on to Service Building Superintendent, Mr. Walters.
thank you, Mayor, Council. A couple things. One thing on the Ledge Road project, I talked to Cat's Construction tonight, not long before the meeting here. I'm meeting with them tomorrow. One of the things that left is getting the lot tidied up from them storing and all the equipment and things there. So I'll actually talk to Rich about that right after this meeting. So that's one of the biggest things they have left there. The other is the crack sealing that we've been doing. We are hoping to be done by the end of this week, if not Monday, Tuesday of next week. It's going well. The presidential held up really well, so there wasn't a lot to seal there, but they did seal anything they seen. So I just want to let everybody know that after a year of that, that's held up really well. So the, on Summit, I have some trees that are in the right of way that are in need of being taken down. They are in the right of way. I did cite a property over there that they have many trees within their property that are outside of the right of way, but some of the trees that are a problem and that are causing problem, and even the Spectrum had let me know that they're having problems getting all these lines raised because of some of these trees in the right of way. So I'm gonna need to get a contractor to take these trees down, since it's nothing that we can do for sure.
Jason, are these hazard trees right now? Are they really bad, or?
Well, they're just so overgrown and right at the street that they're an issue, and they're within the lines. I'm talking about the utility lines.
The reason I'm asking is it something that can go in this year's budget, or can we do it first thing next year?
I would rather get it taken care of before this winter comes, just because it's really at my attention. So I anticipate it costing a few $1,000s. So that's why I'm bringing it up. So I have not discussed it with anybody, but I did look at it again today, and we definitely going to have to do something about it. So last week, the garbage company was coming down. They couldn't get down Summit. Many of the lines on Summit are so low. And again, when I met with Spectrum out there, some of the issues is, the trees, the power company will take care of up higher than that, but it's kind of it's not done the same way as it used to be. So, but these are rather large oaks right on the street, right off of the street, I should say. So we have to do something, and definitely within the right of way. And
So should I wait to address it with the utility companies till after we take care of the trees, or do you want to?
no, I still wanted to address with the utility companies, because for years now, this is the first time they've ever brought that to my attention. It was just a worker, he kind of explained to me when he was trying to put that line back up, and that's right where I'm going to take the trees down. They're probably the worst in the area, so
Okay.
we just gotta have to do it. It's not it's not budgeted for. I didn't budget for it, but you guys can make the decision. I don't have a price yet, because I just made the decision today that we're gonna have to do something about it.
Well, let's do this. Let's see what the price is going to be, and then let's check with the finance director to see if we have money somewhere that we can do it, and go from there.
Okay. The biggest thing is I just, like I said, I want to get it scheduled as soon as possible. So before we get into the winter. So, and that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to reports from
I'm
municipal.
sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Yes. I feel you over here telling me to shut up. So, anyhow.
Oh, yeah.
So, salt. Here you go. This has been a all summer long, for the last 5 months. We belong to a consortium. We have for years, out of the University of Akron. There's, I think, approximately 60 towns that we're all together. We order our salt together. We all give our estimated amount that we'll need, committed amount, which is usually 80, 120. In other words, we have to get a minimum of 80 up to 120% of it. Last year we were in I think it was just under $50. Is that right, Tricia? Do you remember? Yeah, I can't remember. And we now have, Cargill is probably the biggest distributor of salt. So this year they're giving us a 85,000 ton bid. In other words, they're not committed to it though. They're saying we could possibly provide you with 85,000 tons, meaning the whole group, which is approximately half of what the group needs. So, and it's not committed. So what we had to do is get a secondary bin, which is basically a company that will buy all the salt up front and then sell it to us. And I think the way it's working is Cargill wants to kind of stay out of dealing with each entity, and then he's selling to one. Basically, they're buying, I think, 2 bargefuls. So our price now is $102 per ton. So initially, I was going to take 1,200 ton until realizing that. So I took us to 850 ton. It's like the bare, I'm hoping, but being honest, I'm not gonna. It's getting to the point where we just can't afford to salt in the same way. So we'll handle it as we go. But you're talking $100,000 in salt to just,
How much do you have now?
we have approximately 125 ton. So I looked at 2016. It has doubled since 2016. It has doubled since then. So a few years back, something similar to this happened, and the salt company ended up having to send checks out to many of the municipalities, paying everybody back. They basically felt they're gouging us. So I feel more upset over it this time than last time. I mean, it was, $102 per ton is just outrageous, especially when you're taking such a volume of it. So that's where we're at. So, I mean, we have gotten through seasons, when those a couple of years ago, we didn't use half of that. Okay, but on an average winter around here, we're easily, 900 to 1,200 ton. So, just letting you know.
Okay. Moving on to the reports of the municipal boards and commissions. Mr. Hepsa, Planning Commission.
No report this evening.
The only thing I have to add to your report is Bob McNeely will be resigning from the Planning Commission. His last day will be November 1st, 2018 due to health and relocating to Colorado.
And we do have a sign ordinance project meeting next Wednesday at 6:30, right? Okay.
Moving on to Recreation. Recreation Board did not meet. We didn't have a quorum, so we could not have a meeting. Our next meeting is the first Thursday in November, which is, I think, November 1st at 6:30 here at Council Chambers to discuss Veterans Day. Moving on to reports of standing committees. Mr. Magistrelli on Finance.
No report today, Mr. Mayor. Our next finance meeting will be October 24th at 6:30.
Mrs. Tomzalski of Rosen Public Works.
No report this evening, Mayor.
Mr. Sheriff, Health and Welfare.
No report.
Mr. Wojtusz is not present. Does anyone have anything for wages and breaking conditions? Hearing none, moving on. Fire and Safety, Mrs. Noack.
Yes, I have a small one. There was a meeting tonight with the chief of the fire department, Chief Buss, as well as Alan Hips that joined us, and it was just going over some ideas for the budget next year on his priorities that he would like to see, so that we're getting our little wish list together. I think it went very well. It was very educational. Thank you.
Tricia, any ideas that council might have? When would be the deadline to get those ideas to you for the budget for next year?
November 30th.
Okay. So if anyone has anything they'd like to bring to the table or, put into the budget next year, November 30th. Moving on, does that conclude your report? Moving on to Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Hibbs.
No report this evening.
Moving on to legislation, Law Director Brad Bryan.
Thank you, Mayor. First, we have 2018-65, an emergency resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Summit County Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the fiscal officer on first reading this evening. Is there a motion to suspend the three reading rule?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Hips, seconded by Mr. Magistrelli. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
All opposed? Is there a motion to pass?
Motion?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Magistrelli, seconded by Mr. Hips. Any questions or comments? Okay. All in favor of passage?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
All opposed? Okay. Next is 2018-66, an emergency resolution authorizing certain amendments to the 2018 appropriation resolution and/or transferring items already appropriated in that resolution also on first reading. Is there a motion to suspend the three reading rule?
So
Motion.
moved. Second?
Motion by Mr. Magistrelli, seconded by Ms. Noack. All in favor of the motion?
Yes.
Yes.
All opposed? Is there a motion to pass?
Motion
Motion.
to pass, second?
Motion by Mr. Magistrelli, seconded by Ms. Noack. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of passage?
Yes.
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 All opposed? And that's it for the legislation this evening. I know next meeting, there will be the code update legislation, so that will be on the agenda next meeting. I just got that this evening.
At this time, is there any old business, new business, or announcements?
I just got a question on the light at the plaza. There's a button over there that, like, if you're blind or whatever, you want to hit the button, and the light's supposed to change, or the you could walk across at that point. It doesn't seem to work. You know, it seems like it just goes through the same cycle it always did. Is that hooked up to the light on Route 8? And I think that might be Mr. Wysocki, if you could answer that for me. I don't know how that works.
It was set up to be hooked for the light. I'm not sure over the years if it's just to stop functioning or not. I haven't checked it. We're going to be replacing that next year, that whole intersection, putting new stuff in over there. In fact, I believe that intersection was originally set up as an actuated intersection, which means it had loop detectors. But the loop detectors in State Route 8, I believe, were taken out when the road was just redone a couple of years ago with the milling and filling again there. So I think that operates on a fixed time signal now. If it's fixed time, then that button would not be actuated if it's fixed time now. But I haven't really paid attention to that, Mr. Chair, because we're going to be ripping it out next year. So, yeah, we can have Signal Service check that. But yeah, we can check it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Mayor, I have something.
Yes.
Just wanted to give a kudos to Chief Buss from Chief Solgus. Chief wasn't going to be here this evening, and he just wanted to let everybody know that he did the training with the Chief Buss today at Leet, and that it went extremely well, and that they are planning on doing more in the future, and that we are very proud to have Jason aboard, and he's the real deal. So I just wanted to pass that along.
I was going to say, how much you give him?
Just a heads up, I won't be at the next council meeting on the 24th.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything? Do we hear adjournment?
I'd like to make a motion for adjournment.
Motion by Ms. Domzowski to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Mr. Magistrelli. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
All opposed? We are adjourned at 7:55.
Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight.